Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Universe Speaks, a wrestling podcast. As always, I am your host, Christopher Andrews, and I am joined once again via video call-in by my co-host, Ryan Richards.
How's it going, Chris?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
Oh, can't complain.
Good. And unfortunately, today, we do not have Sammy Rose in studio with us, so please bear with any sort of technical difficulties that may incur throughout this episode.
Sammy's somewhat of a genius. She'll be able to make it sound good.
Yeah, she's the one that makes us sound bearable. So hopefully we'll be able to do it okay without her, and she will return for follow-up episodes. So yay for that. Okay, cool. So we are going to talk about SmackDown Live this week, and we're going to go through SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live leading us into Backlash, the second Backlash since the brand extension. It took place last June. There was a Backlash in September, and now there's going to be a Backlash here at the end of May. So we're going to go through this week. We've got one more week of SmackDown before we get to Backlash. So we'll talk about recapping what went on and what we might potentially see over the next few weeks here. So our show of SmackDown opens with Randy Orton. And once again, WWE is in London. Once again, the show is taped. Once again, we have poor rating based on what we talked about during our Monday Night Raw recap. The fact that those spoilers are out there, they're available. The fact that, when you have a taped wrestling show, in my opinion, it takes away from the anything can happen factor. It's real tough to sit on the edge of your seat waiting for everything to go down when you know what's already happened. It's great that they're taping from London. I think that it's a wonderful opportunity to expand, especially with the UK tournament and the new UK TV show, possible NXT UK. Obviously, the fans out there are great. They're loud. They're boisterous. They've got a lot going on for them. It's just tough to have a taped show. So we start with Randy Orton on this taped show talking about his loss to Bray Wyatt at Payback, and that it wasn't because Bray Wyatt was the better person. It wasn't even because of the, and I quote, damn refrigerator. I hated that match so much.
Steve Austin liked it. Why can't you get behind it?
I don't know. I don't know. But it was because of Jinder Mahal. And at Backlash, Randy's going to beat Jinder because Jinder is still the number one contender. Still, Jinder Mahal, no matter what people say, no matter what they do, he's still the number one contender. And that match is still going to go forward. And yeah, we'll definitely be seeing it here in a couple weeks. So obviously, as to not be outdone by Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal comes out with the Singh brothers and shows what with the WWE title after he stole it. I think it was weird that they don't say stole the title or took the title. I'm not sure exactly why they're not referring to those words when that's what he did to the WWE title, but the announcers are making a big point not to say that Jinder stole the title.
Probably the same reason they don't say Randy Orton committed arson. We can't admit to wrongdoings in WWE. That would cast our superstars in poor light, Chris.
Well, anyway, with the title, whether it was stolen or taken or
borrowed,
however, Jinder apparently had time to do some promotional photos with the belts that he showed off to Randy. And here we go with, I have another quote because it's just tough sometimes to be a wrestling fan with quotes like this. I will cleanse your ignorance with my greatness.
Oh my God.
Nobody ever in the history of fighting has legitimately said, I will cleanse your ignorance with my greatness.
Well, someone has now.
Yeah, right? This is the problem when we have soap opera writers writing for professional wrestling. You know, when you have guys that are not fans of the product coming in most of cases, and they're a revolving door. You know, they're not watching the product that they're writing for prior to writing for it. You have Jinder Mahal, who is not the best on the microphone to begin with, having a really super underwhelming promo with that quote, "I will cleanse your ignorance with my greatness." This does not make me excited for this title match.
You were excited for this title match?
Well, we talked about it last time that we talked about SmackDown, that, you know, it's a little easier to put on a non-marquee title match when you're paying $9.99 a month for the WWE Network as opposed to $49.99 for one specific pay-per-view. You know, I was willing, I think I said it before, willing to give him a shot, willing to get some new blood in the main event scene, but it's not doing anything for me. They're not giving me a reason to continue to want to give this guy a shot. And poor promos like this, underwhelming storylines are going to kill any sort of new blood in the main event scene before they even get a shot. I mean, they could go and they could have a probably not 5-star quality match, because I don't think either one of them is a 5-star quality opponent for one another, but they could have a really, really good match, and you could end up just not caring about it because the build prior to it was so bad. In the same way that I think we talked about this with Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins, that everything is just so bland between these two that it doesn't matter if they're the greatest professional wrestlers in the world, the storyline just isn't coming across as all that entertaining.
Agreed. And I think one of the things we miss about the Attitude Era is, I'm not saying the stories in the Attitude Era were great. You will never hear me say that every Attitude Era story was great. You will never, ever hear those words come out of my mouth, because that's a lie. But at least when somebody hated somebody and there was a lot of animosity between people.
Whoa. We don't say hate in the PG era.
That's great. I never signed a contract saying I would appear to Mr. McMahon's rules. And by the way, that is how I'm going to refer to him forever, and I cannot wait for Matt Hardy to start talking like that. But we should care about Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal. We should care about Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins. You know, Samoa Joe put Seth Rollins on the shelf. Jinder Mahal cost Randy Orton a victory in the most absurd match in the history of the universe. It's done with such just a laissez-faire attitude that I don't care. It's why, I get back on Raw. I get why Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins hate each other. I do. Seth Rollins anti-Triple H, Samoa Joe's Triple H's new guy. That makes sense, even though it's still bland. Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton, I don't get that at all, and it's my problem with pushing people to the moon so quickly, like they're doing with Jinder Mahal. It's out of left field. It's boring. It's, oh no, Jinder Mahal. And again, I've gone on record as saying I don't think it's the same person as the last Jinder Mahal. So it's.
Well, again, and we addressed this before, it's that opening of that new market of India, with how many billion people that could potentially be buying Jinder Mahal t-shirts and Singh Brother t-shirts and Jinder Mahal lunchboxes and Singh Brother hats and socks. And, in the same way that everybody knew Stone Cold Steve Austin in the United States, I think the WWE is trying to say we need everybody to know Jinder Mahal and the Singh Brothers in India. So there's a potential that Jinder Mahal may walk out of Backlash with the WWE title. I don't think that that's necessarily going to happen. I think that there are other things in play here, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. We continue with this segment. Kevin Owens walks out to save it. Thank God. He has the U.S. title. says that nobody cares about the House of Horrors, India, and nobody cares about England. The only thing that people should care about is the new face of America, the new United States champion, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, and I picked up on this. I think people have touched upon it, but it's just such this little just nuance with this character. Watch how Kevin Owens walks out on the ramp. When he enters the arena, watch where he walks. Because you know where he doesn't walk? He doesn't walk down the center of the ramp. And why doesn't he walk down the center of the ramp? Because his face is on that ramp. And he has not one time since they've added in his face on the ramp entrance walked on himself. And I know I might be making a big deal about this. I know it might just not be a huge thing. And you're asking, hey, Chris, why are you wasting time talking about this on the podcast? The reason that I'm wasting time talking about this on the podcast is because when you are an egotistical heel, when you are referring to yourself as the face of America, when you are, the guy that says that I carried Monday Night Raw on my shoulders for months, and now I'm going to carry SmackDown Live on my shoulders, you wouldn't walk on your own face. No.
That'd be a crime against America.
It would be. It would be and it just shows how good this guy is. To think that deeply into the character that he is portraying, to make a specific movement in his entrance, when entrances are so choreographed nowadays, men, women, luchadors, 205ers, heavyweights, tag teams, it doesn't matter. Everybody has this animated, choreographed entrance. Here's a guy that just wants to walk down to the ramp or walk down to the ring, get his business done, get paid, and go home. And yet he still is smart enough to say, well, I'm not going to walk over my own face. I don't need to dance. I don't need to twist. I don't need to turn. I don't need to pose. But I'm not going to walk over my own face. I think it's brilliant. And I think that it just shows how far and above this guy is than a lot of the other people that he's working with. And I mean specifically working with one-on-one, because I would never bash AJ Styles. I would never bash a Seth Rollins in, terms of creating a character, or, a Chris Jericho, or, but I'm just saying in general, in the workplace, how far ahead Kevin Owens is.
Are you expecting an argument from me? I've been telling you how great Kevin Owens is for years now. No, but it's exactly what you're saying. It's subtle nuances that make these characters great. And if you don't agree with that, you're absolutely fooling yourself. It is absolutely these subtle nuances that make these characters absolutely phenomenal. Kevin understands that. He understands that it's his ability to tell a story and contribute to a story without actually saying anything that makes him someone who is going to be in this business for a long time and be successful for as long as he so chooses. It's what right now lack. I hope that he is there, taking people under his wing saying, look, because he is off camera one of the nicest guys on the planet Earth. I really hope he's sitting down with people who, are struggling with this. Like, I'm having trouble with where some people are because they're not prominent, and brand split messed with where some people are, but I hope he's sitting down with somebody like Apollo Crews, who isn't getting any reaction with people at all, and saying, look, this is what you're doing. You need to do it like this. You know what I mean?
I think Apollo Crews is sitting down with the Titus brand.
I'm sure that's going to serve him well, because Titus O'Neil has done so well in the WWE.
Well, I mean, they talked about it on Bring It to the Table this last episode. Do you like the? And I know we're getting off of SmackDown here, but do you like the idea of Titus O'Neil as a manager? And in terms of vocals, in terms of promo work, everybody liked that idea. But in terms of the fact that Apollo Crews is 5'10" and Titus O'Neil is 6'6", you can't have a 6'6" manager when you have a 5'10" client, I guess, managee. Yeah, but going back to what you were saying about Phenomenal, we follow this up with the Phenomenal AJ Styles. He makes his entrance to interrupt Kevin Owens. Obviously, their match is being set up as a United States title match. They're going to go one-on-one. AJ Styles is the person that built SmackDown Live, according to him. He's the face of SmackDown Live. Kevin Owens is never going to be the face of SmackDown Live if AJ Styles has anything to do with it. In my opinion, AJ Styles is on a special level right now. He is even beyond Kevin Owens, even beyond Chris Jericho when he was around, beyond Seth Rollins, beyond your other main eventers. AJ Styles is a special step above everybody else. I mean, AJ is at a point just over a year into his WWE career where he is at tweet me your anger if I'm wrong at this, but I don't think I am. He's at a John Cena level. He's at a Shawn Michaels level. He's at a Stone Cold Steve Austin level, Kurt Angle level. Not quite the Rock level, because, The Rock was able to say and do whatever he wanted and always get some sort of a response. But he's above the writing staff. He's above the monotonous tone of a character-driven promo. He is just in a different league. Once again, we just came off of saying how good Kevin Owens is, and Kevin Owens is very, very, very good. He is great. He is a special individual, a special performer. He is at the top of the card, but I think that AJ is just a step above. Just a little bit above. AJ has become so cool, so confident, so perfect in the role that he has that it is not work for him. It does not sound like work. It does not look like work. It does not feel like work. It is just, he is real. And that's why I say that he's sitting at a John Cena level or, a Stone Cold Kurt Angle level of just like, for this guy, everything that he does, everything that he says, every which way that he moves, walks, talks, dresses is completely 100% real for him in a world that obviously it's not real. Professional wrestling isn't a real world, but you get a special talent with AJ Styles. I cannot wait for AJ and Kevin Owens. I can't.
Yes. No, neither can I.
On the flip side of that, I want to talk about monotonous scripted promos. Out comes Baron Corbin. And Corbin doesn't get much out before Sami Zayn comes running through and attacks. And this whole thing turns into a cluster of a and forth. And we are going to have a 6-person tag team match later on in the evening with Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, Jinder Mahal, and Baron Corbin. When you look at these 6 men, I mean, for me, it's 50-50. You've got 3 guys that deserve everything and more, and you've got 3 guys who could deserve everything and more, but I'm not sure that they're there yet. They will. They can get there. Sami Zayn can get there, and Baron Corbin can get there. But right now, I look at that and I go, oh, wow, yeah, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, main event guys. Yes, completely 100% behind that. And then you have Zayn, Corbin, and Jinder and be like, they can get there. Let's hope that they get there.
But let me tell you the problem I had with SmackDown this week. So they come in here, and all these guys, very clearly, if you couldn't see this coming, you've never watched wrestling before in your life, start to brawl. These are the only six people doing anything on SmackDown right now other than your weird love of the Fashion Police.
Oh, we will get to the Fashion Police. Don't you worry.
We will get there. My children, we will get there. We will take you to the promised land. But these are the only people, wrestling sense who are doing anything I care about right now. And they said the main event's going to be a 6-man tag team. Explain to me why I wasted my time and watched the rest of SmackDown. I could have come back at 9:30 because, spoiler alert, my precious snowflakes out there in the universe, there were 3 matches this week. There were 3 matches on SmackDown. I'm sorry, no, there were 4 matches. There were 4 matches this week. One of them was the women's division, which has been gutted. Anyone worth watching at all went to Raw. And this, it was save Becky Lynch. I really don't care about anybody in the SmackDown's roster. I'm a big Natalya fan. I don't think Natalya gets a lot of the love that Natalya deserves. Becky Lynch versus Natalya, that's decent. But, we have Charlotte and Naomi and Carmella, Tamina, and our best friend James Ellsworth are at ringside. I don't care about that.
The SmackDown Live women's division has completely imploded upon itself after the Superstar shakeup, and I'm not sure, besides bringing up Asuka, what they can do to fix this. I think that the Charlotte face turn has been a complete disaster. Naomi's run as champion has been awful. The welcoming committee is the worst faction name in the history of faction names. SmackDown women have nothing, and these Raw women have more than their fair share of quality.
We know that Dolph Ziggler and Shinsuke Nakamura are not going to fight till Backlash and we talked about it, because they're saving Nakamura's first live match on TV for the pay-per-view, because they're putting him in dark matches to try to get people to watch this horrendous thing that is 205 Live. So there's that. We might see a tag team match, and we did. And I know I'm giving a broad stroke of SmackDown. I will come back around. But we had, Eric Rowan versus Luke Harper. That should be good. It really wasn't that great. And we have Breezango versus the Ascension. Who cares? The Ascension haven't been anything relevant since they've made it to the main roster. And then we got a tag team match, playa, with the main event. This was a painful SmackDown.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree in that. I think that there were highlights that I will disagree with you on. The women's match was not one of them. I think that the women's match was atrocious. I didn't like it. They literally did the same exact thing in the women's match that they had just done in the opening segment for the main event. It was Ellsworth was out and introducing Carmella and Tamina. Then Carmella introduces Natalya. Then Naomi comes out and introduces Becky Lynch. And then Charlotte comes out.
Just cause.
It was the same exact setup we just saw in the opening segment with the men for the main event. It's one person, then one person, then one person. We build into this multi-person situation that's going on, that the WWE is regretting the idea that they made Charlotte Flair a babyface. So now you've already seen a character change in Charlotte, playing more of a tweener, somebody that, her thing, I don't need an introduction. Woo! That's not a babyface thing.
No.
And you have a bad match with Becky and Natalya. This is harkening back to the Divas.
Yes, this should have been a great match. Natalya can work. Becky Lynch is an Irish Spitfire. You have a heart versus Becky Lynch, who is probably one of the better women wrestlers in the world right now. when they let her go. It should have been great. It was shit.
Yeah, there was no time for it. It was 3 to 5 minutes.
No, it was, we write in a segment for the women, let them fight, and then that's it. It was awful. What happened to the women's revolution? 2 of the people who were behind it were out. Nah.
The women's revolution is now on Raw. It was on SmackDown, and now it is on Raw because, in my personal opinion, you can allow Raw to lose.
Everyone who was out there, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Charlotte, Carmella, they can work. Tamina, I've never seen her work because they don't let her. They just make her stand there. But I'm sure she can. You're related to Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I'm sure you picked something up in your life. And I may not like Naomi, but she's not awful. I don't feel the glow, but that doesn't mean I think she's shit. Everyone who was out there, with the exception of James Ellsworth, deserves to be out there working and putting on a good show, and we're not being able to see it because we have to watch Captain No Chin. And it's shit. It's shit, and I need the writers of SmackDown, when they're focusing on the women division, to please pull their heads out of their ass because it's shit.
Well, and what's the worst part about it is that it did nothing for anybody except allow Charlotte to play the tweener because they said, we screwed up and, we need to get her to get a little bit more attitude, as she had on Raw. It sets up a 6-person or 6-woman tag team match at Backlash, Becky and Charlotte and Naomi versus the Welcoming Committee. In probably what will happen is that Charlotte will go full heel at this point, leaving just Naomi and Becky to be faces. My hope, I said it, my hope here is that we get Asuka, and we get Asuka quickly on the SmackDown Live women's roster, because we need a shot of adrenaline on SmackDown Live, and I think that Asuka is the answer to that. Now, another place that I'm going to disagree with you on is the Fashion Files.
I know you like it. I don't get it.
I loved it.
I don't.
And I know that, the general consensus that from what I've read was that it was a hit and a miss. Like, the first week was awesome. This week was not as good. I can see where it, maybe, it wasn't as funny. I thought that it was amusing, their dress up. I think that Tyler Breeze there was something about Tyler Breeze this week that I just was like, yeah, put this guy in a main event. And I know how silly that sounds, but for whatever reason, him dressed up in his little, outfit, his English police officer outfit. I don't know what it was, but like just watching him, I was like, yeah, this guy could be a future world champion, which I'm sure is the exact opposite thought that most people had. And they think that they're finding the Usos, and they stumble across the Ascension. This is the part that was weird to me. That the Ascension were together in a closet, slapping each other and making sounds with no explanation as to why. I mean, like when Mankind was in a closet, like he had an explanation as to why he was in the closet, why he was in the boiler room. When the Boogeyman was in the closet, when he was hiding in dark places, there was an explanation for that. What's the explanation for the Ascension to be slapping each other in the closet? I don't know. I know that the Ascension, like you said, has failed on many levels since being called up to the main roster. This doesn't help.
No.
This doesn't help. I think that this is loved every single part up until they open the closet door and the Ascension are just there grunting and slapping each other. I think the reaction of Breezango was fine, but like, explain to me. Give me more. I mean, because you never established that the Ascension are closet dwellers. You've never established that the Ascension are the, backstage, murky, dark place where they live. Like I said, you had with somebody like Mankind or like the Boogeyman. That was weird. That was weird to me.
Like I said, it's just a bunch of shit. I'm gonna get bleeped so much in this episode by Sammy when she gets back. I'm gonna get yelled at so badly. It's just a bunch of stuff I don't care about. I want to care about Rowan and Harper, but for me, we broke up the family and we need something to do now.
Yeah, the biggest mistake that they made, moving on to Rowan and Harper, the biggest mistake that they made was not putting Luke Harper in the main event at WrestleMania with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. I don't know how anybody that was writing that prolonged story out could say, well, we're not going to give him a shot. Like, why would you write the story for Luke Harper to be the guy that's like, Randy Orton's going to screw you over, Randy Orton's going to screw you over, Randy Orton's going to screw you over. See, Randy Orton screwed you over. I told you so, but you turned on me. I'm going to get my revenge. That match was incomplete because there was no Luke Harper. And then it became even more incomplete when they brought back Eric Rowan and then moved Bray Wyatt to Monday Night Raw. There's no sense that is made in anything that is happening here. Luke Harper loses. Eric Rowan picks up the upset win after talking to his weird gas mask sheep thing. But Eric Rowan is not good without Bray Wyatt. We've tried Eric Rowan on his own without Bray Wyatt. He was an idiot savant, and I don't say that in a derogatory term. Look. No,
you say it's what it was.
Yeah, look back on it. He was this like brilliant guy in this simplistic mountain man body for like 2 weeks. When he was feuding with the Authority out of nowhere, and then Sting came back, and everybody got fired, and John Cena, had to do whatever he did, and that whole thing, but like,
this is what being a wrestling fan is. It's highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. My roommate just yelled across from, I don't think anyone could hear this, but he just yelled from across the room, not if you're a Matt Hardy fan. He never watched him do Broken before Broken became big. Yes, Matt Hardy has highs and lows.
Yeah. We have several segments left.
We have segments, but they're not wrestling, and we're too heavy into segments, in my opinion.
Not with Dolph Ziggler and Shinsuke Nakamura. You are wrong. You are wrong on this. End of story, period, exclamation point, no discussion. Shinsuke Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler had an amazing segment. It is every week that they go out there and they look at just looking at each other makes me just that much more excited for the match at Backlash.
I think that might be that they're doing it right, and I really want to see this match, and I'm sick of, we get it, you're going to fight, could you please fight?
No, you're wrong. You are wrong. They should not fight. They should not fight at Backlash. They should not fight until SummerSlam. Okay, because this is the only thing that's getting Dolph Ziggler over as a heel. This is the only thing that is breathing new life into the Dolph Ziggler character that people have been begging for years. Dolph Ziggler has quietly had the best year of his entire career. Between his feud at this point last year, going into SummerSlam against Dean Ambrose for the WWE title, coming out of that into his amazing back and forth with The Miz, the career on the line match was awesome over the fall. It fell a little flat in the follow-up. I wish that they had ended it there, with the Dolph saving his career and that. There was a little fall off. Then we get the turn of the heel Ziggler with crap with Kalisto and Apollo Crews, but now he's back on that upswing, and like I said, I think that this is the best year that he has had in his entire career, character-wise, wrestling-wise, and is going to be topped off with Shinsuke Nakamura, because these two are going to put on a fantastic match. Dolph Ziggler is going to continue to play this crybaby heel, which is not much different than what he was playing as a babyface. He's saying the same things, except now people are realizing it, and he's saying it in such a way that it's like, I'm done saying I worked so hard for 8 years. Now it's I've worked so hard for 8 years and you still don't give me the respect that I deserve. What is Shinsuke Nakamura? Who is he? He hasn't even won a match here. And then the crowd starts chanting NXT, NXT, NXT. And Dolph, with the perfect, slimy, sarcastic heel that he is, responds to the live crowd chant, "This will all be edited out." And the crowd goes crazy, and they start singing the Shinsuke song. This is perfect. This is amazing. Give me this every week. Don't put Shinsuke and Dolph in a match at Backlash. I know that that's what they're branding all of Backlash around, but I wish that they didn't. I wish that they had given this a little time to progress, because I think that they could get another 6 weeks out of dragging this out and just, the Spitfire, maybe have Shinsuke come out for a match and Dolph attack and put Shinsuke on the shelf for a little while longer. We just push it back and push it back. And then finally, when these two lock up, it is the match of the century. This is the match that everybody's wanting to see, because they have actually done a build correctly. They have done a long, slow build. They have hearkened back to the golden era of professional wrestling, where it's not, this week we're going to talk about it, next week we're going to do it. Nobody cares about that. Shinsuke and Dolph Ziggler in this segment is fantastic. And I can't believe that you would say that you're sick of segments when you have this on the docket.
I know. You're passionate. It's good. People need to hear the passion, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, you end this with some physical altercation. You end this with Shinsuke and Dolph going at each other. The tease, again, that slimy heel that Dolph Ziggler can play and is playing, and maybe not actually playing. Maybe that's the Dolph Ziggler that we should have had for 5 years, as opposed to just these past 5 months. In regards to other segments, we followed up with a backstage segment. Sami Zayn is playing this annoying, I don't know what they're doing with him, fanboy almost. Randy and Styles leave the room with that. Ascension, Breezango, you've already touched upon this. It doesn't make much of a difference in the long run. The high point is Shinsuke and Dolph, and then just low point to follow it up. The Brian Kendrick talks about 205 Live. Mojo Rawley has a weird thing with a bunch of kids backstage.
Forgot about that. I don't know if I forgot about that or mentally blocked that. I can't tell.
It was really weird. If everything was right with Shinsuke Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler, everything was wrong with Mojo Rawley and kids. And this is an example, going back to what I was talking about with AJ Styles, about being ahead and being above everybody else and making everything so real. You could tell that everything Mojo says was scripted for him word for word, and possibly even on some cards off screen that he could just read from, because that's what it sounded like. It was bad. It was bad. Really bad. Main event time. Solid 6-person match. Nothing that was extraordinary. I think everybody did the job that they were supposed to do. I don't think that it sets up well for Jinder Mahal getting a clean pin on Randy Orton to end the night, and then him standing tall, celebrating with the Singh brothers and the title. I don't think that is a good setup for him going into Backlash. I know that you can't have him take the pinfall loss. I know that, you can't have Kevin Owens take the pinfall loss. You probably don't want to have Baron Corbin take that loss, so it's easier to manipulate a win for the heels than it is for the baby faces in this match. But to have Jinder win clean over Randy and then stand tall over him usually doesn't lead for good things for that person that's standing tall, show away from the pay-per-view. I did like that it really stretched out, though. I liked that they gave it time. They, were able to tell a story. You took 6 guys and 3 different storylines and you interwove them together. That was very Attitude Era-esque. Going back to Monday Night Raw, they're doing the same thing like we talked about with the main feud, Ambrose and The Miz, and Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt, except now we're switching people up. So you're interweaving these matches. You can get, singles matches out of them. You can get tag team matches out of them before the main event has to take place. Save that for your pay-per-view, except in the case of Miz and Ambrose, which will happen on Monday night instead. So I like that idea. I like the timing of it. I like that it told 3 different stories in one match. It was a match, and it was what it was. The highlight of the night, definitely, as I ranted about, was Shinsuke Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler. The low light of the night for me was the women's match, and some weird thing with Mojo Rawley and kids.
Yeah, no, that sums it up very nicely, I think. We got one more SmackDown to go before Backlash. I'm hoping we go in on a high note, but we will see. Anything you want to close with here, Chris?
I want to just close with, thank you for the continued support. Follow us on our social medias. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes talking about Great Balls of Fire, Backlash, our continued recaps, our rapid reaction segments that we'll be discussing 50-50 booking. We'll be discussing Billy Corgan purchasing the NWA. We'll be discussing some Impact Wrestling stuff going on. More than just our recap segments and our recap episodes, there are other things that we are have on the docket for us. So thank you, like I said, for all the support that everybody's given us. And we look forward to continuing on with these.
Yes. Question of the day. What aren't we doing that you would like to hear discussed on The Universe Speaks? Do you want more predictions? Do you think we need to have lists? Whatever you'd like, let us know, and we will do our best to bring that to you. For Christopher Andrews, I'm Ryan Richards, and thank you for listening to The Universe Speaks, a wrestling podcast.
So long, everyone.
That's the end of this episode. In our next episode, we'll talk about wrestling. Oh man, it's crazy. Coming soon. All of our episodes are now available through our website. For links to those episodes, downloadable MP3s, our other social media websites, or if you're just a part of the universe and want to contact us, feel free to do so at theversespeaks.tumblr.com. That's TheVerse.tumblr.com.